The phone rang at 12:07 a.m., the kind of sound that doesn't just wake you up, but pulls you out of sleep like a hand around the throat. Evan Parter lay still, staring at the ceiling fan turning slow above him, already knowing the call wasn't meant for anyone else in the house. His wife's breathing stayed steady beside him, their daughter asleep down the hall. The world quiet, except for that ringing that felt deliberate, patient, almost polite. He reached for the phone before it could ring a third time, his fingers cold, his pulse loud in his ears. The voice on the other end was calm, older, and strangely familiar, as if it had been waiting years for him to pick up. It said his full name without asking who was there, pronounced it the way his mother used to when she was disappointed. Evan stepped out of bed and closed the bedroom door softly, standing barefoot on the hardwood, the house smelling faintly of laundry detergent and the rain that had started earlier that night. The voice asked if he remembered the farmhouse on Hollow Creek Road, the one with the collapsed barn and the sycamore tree split by lightning. Evan's throat tightened. He hadn't heard that place mentioned since he was 17, since the night his family stopped being what it pretended to be. He told the voice it had the wrong number, but the voice only breathed out a quiet laugh and said some things don't disappear just because we move away, marry well, or learn how to smile in photographs. Evan leaned against the wall, memories pushing in despite his resistance. His father's truck idling too long in the driveway, his mother scrubbing her hands raw at the sink, the locked room at the end of the hall no one talked about. The voice told him the sycamore had finally fallen, roots pulled up like exposed bones, and what was buried near it had come loose. Evan felt a wave of nausea and asked who was calling. The answer came without hesitation. "I'm the man your parents said didn't exist." The words cracked something open inside him. He slid down until he was sitting on the floor, the phone pressed hard to his ear, afraid that if he loosened his grip, the past would spill into the hallway. The caller spoke gently now, describing details no stranger could know. The scar on his knee from a childhood fall, the way his mother hummed when she was afraid, the exact words his father used the night they made a promise that bound all of them. Evan remembered standing in the doorway, half hidden, hearing that promise too. He had been young enough to believe adults could outrun consequences, old enough to understand fear. The caller said he wasn't calling for revenge. He said he had lived a long life shaped by silence, by a decision made by people who wanted to protect their son at any cost. He said Evan had inherited that protection, along with the lie. The farmhouse, the locked room, the story about a distant cousin who died in an accident, it had all been built to keep one truth buried. Evan had been born with a brother, given away in the dead of night after something went wrong, after fear outweighed love. The voice paused, letting the weight of it settle, then said, "I wanted to hear your voice before I let go of mine." Evan felt tears rise, not explosive but heavy, the kind that come from realizing your life has missing rooms you never knew to search for. He asked why now. The caller said illness has a way of stripping away patience, and the storm did the rest. He said he didn't want anything from Evan except acknowledgement, a witness to a life that had run parallel and unseen. Evan looked down the dark hallway toward his daughter's room and thought about the stories we tell children to keep them safe, and the damage those stories do when they calcify into secrets. When the call ended, there was no dramatic farewell, just a quiet click, like a door finally closing the right way. Evan stayed on the floor until the rain softened outside, and the house felt less like a stranger. In the morning, he told his wife everything, his voice unsteady but honest, and later he stood by the window with his daughter, watching the clouds break apart. Some secrets, he understood now, don't destroy families when they surface. They change them, forcing light into places that were never meant to stay dark. And though the phone never rang again at midnight, Evan knew the call had done what it came to do. It had returned a missing name into his life, and in doing so, gave him the chance to build something quiet.